Why the Los Angeles Sparks might be the Minnesota Lynx's biggest threat in the WNBA playoffs. Circus shot from Rickea Jackson, and the Sparks get a walk-off winner, shouted sportscaster Michael Grady, stunned as Jackson delivered a clutch bucket to seal the Los Angeles Sparks' fifth straight win. It came against the defending champions, the New York Liberty, and right in front of a packed house of 16,000 at Barclays Center. Now that's one way to hush an entire home crowd. Sure, Lynn Roberts' side might be on the wrong side of the table right now, fourth from the bottom. But press your ears against the floorboard and you can hear the tide turning. It's been 9 long years since the Sparks last lifted a trophy. They made a solid push in 2017 but came up just short. Since 2019, the bright lights of Tinseltown haven't seen a playoff series, and their last postseason appearance was back in 2020. There's a drought that's parched every last drop of patience in Sparks Nation. But if the skies finally open up and it starts raining wins, just remember that we said it here first. And if there's one team that might want to keep checking their rearview mirror, it's the Lynx. Where the Los Angeles Sparks stand, a look at their season so far. The 2024 season was a rough one for the Sparks. They finished with the worst record in the league at 8-32. Simply put, it was hard to watch. The numbers didn't lie either. They were 10th in rebounds per game with just 32.7. Assists? Only 19.7 a night. 3-point shooting? A flat 32%. That's not all. They turned the ball over 15 times per game, the second worst in the league. And defensively? They had the fewest blocks, averaging a mere 3.2 per game. It was a season to forget. What made their campaign even tougher to watch was the optimism that preceded it. Armed with 2 top 5 picks, they drafted Cameron Brink and Rickea Jackson with high hopes. But luck just wasn't on their side. Brink went down after only 15 games and hasn't been back since. And while Rickea kept quietly asserting herself as one of the key pieces of the team, her averages of 13.4 points and 3.9 rebounds just could not patch the holes in the Sparks ship. Then came the fresh winds of 2025, and the season began with new hopes. Kelsey Plum came in what is to date the only trade that saw 2 number 1 picks get involved. A massive sign of intent from the organization going forward. They decided to part ways with Curt Miller and brought in Utah Utes women's basketball coach Lynn Roberts. For the first time in a while, the playoffs didn't feel like a fantasy. They felt real, but the hype didn't last long. The Sparks were brought back to earth quickly, winning just 3 of their first 10 games. And it didn't take a genius to spot the issue, it was the defense. With a defensive rating of 104.3, they ranked 10th in the league. Their net rating? A wobbly -0.3. They were giving up 84.2 points per game during that early stretch, hardly a recipe for success. Offensively, things were clicking. Plum, Hamby, and Jackson were doing their part. But defensively, the gaps were glaring. Still, somehow, Lynn Roberts' squad has kept pushing, quietly defying the odds and refusing to fold. The recent surge in form for the Sparks. No matter how their season started, the Sparks have found a spark of their own in the last 5 games. Yes, 4 of those wins came against the 8th-seeded Mystics and the 13th-seeded Sunday. But let's not make judgments too quickly. They also beat the defending champions, the New York Liberty. And that's not something you can just write off. Over their last 5 games, the Sparks have been on fire. They're leading the league in points per game with 97.2. Offensively, they've been unstoppable, posting a league-best rating of 116. And it doesn't stop there. Their net rating? A solid 11.5, third best during this run. The numbers don't lie. They have been unstoppable. Yet, their defense hasn't improved one bit. A major red flag. They're allowing 87.8 points per game, the 3rd worst in the league. And it doesn't stop there. Over the last 5 games, their defensive rating is 104.5, 10th best in the league. So while the offense is lighting it up, the defense is still stuck in the same old mess. So, how can they possibly mount a push for the playoffs if they are still this bad defensively? Well, they have a certain Cameron Brink getting ready to help them do just that. Cameron Brink, the key to the Sparks' playoff hopes? June 18, 2024. A date every Sparks fan remembers. It was the last time Cameron Brink suited up. What was shaping up to be a standout rookie season ended in heartbreak. The 6'4" center tore her ACL and meniscus in a tough outing against the Connecticut Sun. But now the wait is finally over. After 13 long months, Brink has been medically cleared to return. It's a little nerve-wracking for sure. I'm just really going to try to be patient with myself because I'm definitely not where I was last year.